Hey, Crystalmania here. This level isn't as bad as I thought it would be. It's still got some frustrating parts though. If you jump onto that ledge and climb up, you'll be able to swing to a pole and get an item. So that's one item that I missed. One item that I didn't miss though is this, where basically you climb up the pole, but because the pole is leading into an open hole in the ceiling, it's intuitive that you might get the idea to climb up there and get the item. So there's an item that's actually placed well for once. Most of the time you pretty much need a guide to find all the items because the camera doesn't show you them. This is a pretty annoying combat section, for all of the reasons that I've gone over earlier. The throwing system is so bad that it might be better to just lure the fire wizards over and just run into the barrel to make it explode on that. I think I had a harder time fighting these guys when I replayed them. God, look how much I'm missing because of the terrible miss attack. But yeah, I made short work of these guys. That's mainly because I was lucky though. Just put out the fire there, and you'll be able to destroy these guys. I believe there's an item that I missed here as well. The jump animation in the Wii and PS2 versions is much looser than the one in the HD versions, which was naturally reused in Sonic Colors and Generations. Not really sure what is meant by that though. Like, how can a jump animation be looser? But yeah, I believe I missed an item somewhere here. I think you break some black rocks. Some black boxes to get it. And I was so suspicious that I lost an item there that... Yeah, here we go. You have to break those black boxes there to get an item. You really gotta break everything if you don't want to miss anything. And even then, the camera might not allow you to see everything. And here's a really awkward combat section. The problem is that these enemies can easily make it so that they're on the very edge of the circular arena. And so you try to attack them, but you're too far away from them to hit them. And they just get glitched out and stuck, running in place, unable to really run into you. And that's what happens when I replay the level. And I was worried that I wouldn't be able to beat them, and I was only able to beat it by knocking into the pit. But yeah, this combat area is pretty awkward, because it's surrounded by bottomless pits, and it's easy to fall to your death in it because you have so much momentum and you might dash attack by accident. In the mobile versions of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, because they actually made a mobile version for some reason, there's a mission called Sonic Unleashed. Inside the mission, you play as Sonic destroying wolf robots, which possibly represents Sonic's struggle with his werewolf form. In the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions, there's 2 achievements named after songs by the Beatles. I wonder why. I guess Sega had a lot of Beatles fans working on it. This is the final main series Sonic game on PS2, as well as the last Sonic game to be released on a 6th generation console. So, this combined with the Boost formula, which would continue on to Sonic Generations and projects in 2017, and this game was the start of a new era, which was why it was so successful, and successfully brought them out of the Dark Age. Just like Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure was the start of a new era, and it sold really well as well. God, I hate this part, because it's so dark, you can easily wander off the narrow platform to your death. But yeah, you waste time by having to open up a door. It's a good thing that I spotted that item there. In the demo unleashed on the Xbox 360, the game will read as Sonic World Adventure and give a Japanese URL. Because this game was actually called Sonic World Adventure in Japan, which is... yeah. This is a really awkward section of the level. Look at this, the camera was diagonal there, and it's only swung around, so I walked off to my death. And it's so narrow here, and the camera doesn't swing around to still be behind you. You have to walk slowly and carefully or you'll fall to your death. So you shimmy over to get here. Now you gotta avoid being hit by those things, and now you get to a pretty tricky section of the level. It's kind of confusing because there's two paths that you could take. But it's kind of hard to figure out where you're expected to go. Here's the deal. Right below here, to the left of you, is where you're supposed to go. And here's where you're supposed to go. But it's easy to get the wrong idea and think that you have to go over here. But that's really not the case. And I tried to jump there unsuccessfully because I didn't realize because of the camera angle that there was a gate blocking my way to it. I died way too many times in this section. You're better off dealing with the swinger things, provided you actually know how to control them in the first place, than deal with these fire shooters over bottomless pits. It's like, I think the camera angle would have been better for jumping over to this pole if it was turned to the side in like a 2D perspective. So you knew that you couldn't just jump over to that gate because it's so dark. It's so shadow filled. You might think that you can jump over there. And of course, another section where you can't just jump and fall past the pole, or you'll die. And that is the laziest destroyed door animation ever. It literally just crumbles away into dust. And why did they think it was a good idea to have 5 Werehog levels in Eggman Land? I mean, I know it's Eggman Land, I know it's the final level of the game, but that doesn't excuse it. Do you have any idea how draining it is having 5 Werehog levels in a row? In fact, to be honest, I think maybe they all might add up to combining with the Eggman Land Day and all the Eggman Land Day missions. Wii's Eggman Land might actually take longer than HD one, but at least HD Eggman Land was a lot harder and much more frustrating. Yeah, that stupid toboggan section where the road ahead of you would curve around and you would constantly fall to your death. At least the Eggman Land in the Wii version is a fair challenge. And right there I showed off the shield, and of course I got hit. So never use the shield. It's utterly worthless. 100 rings! And it restores an actually sizable amount of your health. Why can't that be in the rest of the levels? 30 rings and 50 rings just aren't enough. They barely seem to restore any health at all. You should have had 100 rings in the boss battles. But yeah, you fight another giant and that's how you get over the goal. Can you tell that I'm bored? Because I'm literally just talking about what's on the screen. Eggman's artwork for this game has the same pose as his artwork in Sonic Channel, which is the official Japanese website for Sonic. Speaking of Sonic Channel, I've heard that it actually had a little hilarious thing where it had Blaze worried about her fire powers and Marine showed up. That's all I really know about it though. So I guess they have kind of amusing comics there. But yeah, we're finally done with Eggman Land. Finally! Finally, we can move on to the final bosses of the game. So, after this level, obviously we get a cutscene of Eggman Land going back to the planet. Because Eggman Land was basically the Arctic, only it was floating high above the sky. So now we can just make it go back into the planet again. God, this is so boring. Like, there's no dialogue or anything like that. It's kind of hard to comment over this, because at least it's finally over. This sound really does remind me of Skyward Sword. Like, when you use a Skyward Strike on the things that you have to use it on right before you go over to the next area. Like, you use a Skyward Strike on the things that look like the Legend of Zelda eagle symbol, and it spins around. Like, cutscenes like this really do feel more from Zelda than from Sonic. There's no dialogue at all. So, thankfully you don't get the game telling you that, oh, the final continent has been restored, let's waste your time some more, even though you clearly just saw it happen.
And my work will be done.
I know. And now we have a really sappy friendship moment that's shilling the...
Thank you, Sonic.
There was a space between the quotation mark and the S. Did they even proofread this?
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not as bad as Dr. Robotnik. But it's also not funny, so it's not nearly as easy to forgive. You know what would have been genuinely funny? If the sheer force of the werehog high-fiving Chip sent him flying away from him comically. That would have been funny. But no, this game isn't allowed to have actually funny jokes. And a beautiful red sky? They are the Black Arms aliens.
Satellite footage confirms that the last piece is moving back into place.
I know. God, this cutscene is such a waste of time. I already know. Tails here is pointless. And of course he has to mention food again. Cause that's funny. What a one-dimensional character. And this has absolutely no consequences. I mean, it's trying to make it feel more dramatic because it's establishing that Eggman's about to fight Sonic. But the problem is that this is good enough, and actions don't have consequences in this story. So what happens is that Tails' plane gets shot down, and it's not even damaged afterwards. Even in Sonic 2, when Tails' plane got shot down, it came back with a rocket strapped to it. See, this would have been genuinely suspenseful and dramatic and exciting and build up to the final boss of the game, but you have this stupid, overly goofy music ruining it. I mean, for the most part it's done well. There's music, there's good music for it, there's action, there's no annoying cartoon sound effects or bad jokes. And this especially is a really good action scene. Oh god, why does there have to be cartoon sound effects again in what's supposed to be an action-packed and exciting? Like, this is awesome. Why can't we just do this in the game? Like, he was moving fast there with his stretchy arms. That would have been cool. This is actually a lot more cooler than the intro, because in the intro there's non-stop action that overstays its welcome and kind of makes you desensitized to it. And it takes so long that you kind of get bored of it. But yeah, aside from Eggman mentioning this is the Egg Dragoon, but he calls it the Ultra Hyper Prototype 11. Which is stupid. Why does he just call it the Egg Dragoon? Like, did he think it wouldn't be intimidating enough? And if so, why did he call it the Egg Dragoon at all? This boss is really cheap, with lots of cheap attacks, and it artificially pads itself out. At least if fighting it as the Werehog, who has the best boss fights. But when I first played this, I took an entire minute, and then I finally realized what I was supposed to do, and I just restarted the whole boss from the very beginning. The reason for that is because I didn't find it very intuitive that you actually could attack Eggman when he's so far away from you. I thought that trying to attack him from that distance would just have me flying off the pit. I believe you're supposed to be able to use Earthshaker on the ice to deflect it back at Eggman. Good luck using that attack reliably. Although I guess it's more likely that you'll be able to do it in this boss battle since there's no enemies attacking or interfering. But again, there's also attacks you have to dodge, and this boss is basically boringly dash around in circles, dodging his cheap attacks, and like there's a lot of cheap attacks. At the very least, this boss does do a good job of establishing the epic and exciting atmosphere. Like, you really get the sense that Eggman really is sick of Sonic by this point. It's more epic in the HD version, but still, this is pretty cool. It's just that's not a very fun boss to play. Especially because it's so unintuitive that you even can attack him. Like, he looks so... Like, of course he looks too far away now, but when he gets up close to you, it really doesn't look like you can attack him at all. And you might think it's too risky and you'll just fall to your death. Thankfully, the ice doesn't permanently stay on the arena like with the Dark Moray, so that's good. It's not always there in your way. Like, see? It vanishes. That's how the Dark Moray should have been. But yeah, just constant artificial padding, just dashing around in circles. It's already over 2 minutes in, and he's not even halfway defeated yet. Like, I know this is supposed to be epic, but that doesn't mean that the boss fight should take forever. Like, it shouldn't be over in 30 seconds, of course, but still. Like, when a boss gets too long, it gets to the point where he just feels, oh god, it's Sonic Advance 1's special stages all over again. How are you supposed to know where exactly to position yourself to collect all the rings? I couldn't even collect those rings. And what's the point of collecting those rings anyways when each individual ring restores such a tiny amount of your health? But at least it does allow you to get rings, and it's a cool action set piece. Like, it's good for Sonic games to have action set pieces to make them memorable and exciting. Like, Sonic Heroes doesn't have any of that. So it's just like straightforward speed and platforming. So it's kind of boring in that respect. But yeah, this is pretty epic. It's just that, like, even at this point, it's just the same thing over and over again. You're doing the same strategy as last time. I like how there's a hit combo message at the top right corner of the screen. Like, I believe that maybe if you pay attention to that, you'll know when the right time to use Earthshaker is. But again, that's assuming that you don't accidentally use a special move before that point, or get attacked before that point as well. So again, it's entirely luck-based whether you manage to do the Earthshaker move consistently or not. If the special attack was mapped to a different button, like, say, the B button for example, why is the B button wasted on the shield that you're never going to use? If the B button was the special attack, like in Smash Brothers, that would have been perfect for fixing the terrible combat system, but instead, you have this frustrating combat system where you constantly try to use strategy, but can't because you keep using the wrong attacks. If the player looks around Bonnie's kitchen in the Empire City level closely enough, there's a magazine called World Treasure on the cover that appears to be Shamar. That's a little fun fact for you. Another one is that during night stages in the Wii and PS2 versions, when Sonic picks up a box, the box's shadow won't show up, but Sonic's shadow will still show. Well, at least he has one. Like, I can't stress enough how terrible it is that the HD version does not have a drop shadow for the Werehog, which is especially frustrating in HD Eggman Land, where you have to carefully jump on narrow pipes over a lava pit, and you're carefully balancing on them to progress, and it just feels very tense. Like, there's a shortcut you can take, but you might not think that you can take it. The Wii and PS2 versions of the game notably have more green blood coming from the enemies, which is ironic despite Nintendo's image as the more family-friendly one. During the fight with Dark Moray, green blood sprays out of the monster every time one of its warts is destroyed. Werehog, it's kind of a weird name because were means man. So Werehog means man-hog. Which, so logically it would mean that Sonic turned into a human as a... Like, it's weird etymology-wise, but I still appreciate the name because it was first thought up by the fans themselves. Sega adopted the fan nickname as the actual name. They were paying attention. And yet not enough to notice the negative reception to the Werehog not used in the first place. Well, at least it's a shot. Like, I like the name the Werehog. Even though it doesn't make any sense, I get what it's going for, so it doesn't really need to entirely make sense. Early concept art for the Werehog was a Yeti. How different would its gameplay have been without the stretchy arms?
How about this?
And God, it's so frustrating. Why can't I just hit it already? This attack is so cheap. Nope, I clearly had my shield up and I still didn't dodge it. If he had attacked me there with such low health, I would have been dead and I would have had to repeat the entire boss fight all over again. All 7 minutes of it. But finally, I've defeated it.
Not so hot.
Wasn't all that fun. It was more like a Sonic boss fight than a Werehog boss fight. Artificial padding and cheap attacks. It really isn't that enjoyable.